Good morning, spaceman. This is Captain Collins. Welcome on board to Space Operations Delta. Today we're going to talk about the PARANID ships, the new line of PARANID ships. Yeah, they are not just redesigned, they have a completely new line of capital PARANID ships. And we're going to compare them with the old ones. Some of them we're going to pair with other capital ships that are in their range. So have fun and let's jump right into the game and talk about that. So now that we are in the game, let's take a look at the comparisons of the new PARANID ships. And for that, we go into the encyclopedia and go into the ship comparison menu. To make this comparison as easy as possible, I take the new ships with the old ships side by side. And then we take simply the highest preset and take a look at the stats from there. We already did that for the Odysseus E in another video, which I will link you at the cards right there, top right corner.
Hello.
Where you will see more changes with the 5.0 patch, and you can take a look there and get some more information. Before we dive deep into every single ship, let me tell you that I used just a high preset. I know they can be faster or they can have a higher shield capacity, but for comparison reasons, I only took the high preset and didn't mess around with it. There are possibilities to make these ships faster or stronger. I know that, but I didn't do that for this video. So here we got the Odysseus E. We're starting with the hull, and the Odysseus E is a little bit tankier than the Sentinel and the Vanguard version. So all the new versions are called E, by the way. That's how you can distinguish them. The other stats are simply the same. We have the shields, the same rate, because there are simply the same amount of shield spots on these ships. We have a little bit more group shield power because we have more M-type shields on the Odysseus E. That's why we also have a higher recharge rate, because we simply have more shields. Weapon outputs are the same because we have the same amount of spots for turrets on all of these ships. But we see that the Odysseus E is a little bit faster than the old ones. It's actually even a little bit faster than some other ships that we will also take a look at after the comparison with the other Odysseus versions. The acceleration is the slowest, so it's not the most agile ship, which you can also see here with yaw, pitch, and roll speeds are a little bit lower than on the other Odysseus versions. We have a slightly larger container storage. The number of docks is the same. A little bit different is the capacity, and I really don't know why they changed the capacity that much. We now have just an M ship capacity of 2 instead of 10 and an S ship capacity of 4 instead of 40. It does maybe make sense if you take a look at the ship itself and the proportions of the ship, and if you think how many ships could you store inside of that size of the ship, but the difference is very big. On the other hand, we have a little bit more crew. A very quick glimpse on some comparisons with a Rattlesnake and a Behemoth Sentinel, which are possibly at the same class for this type of ship. We see that the Rattlesnake is way harder armored than the Odysseus still, but the Odysseus is now a little bit better than the Behemoth Sentinel. Shields differ because we just have different shield spots, a different amount of shield spots. The weapons outputs are absolutely different. The Rattlesnake is still one of the best of its kind in this category, in burst weapon output and sustained weapon output. Speed, that's quite cool. Even the Odysseus is now faster than the Rattlesnake. The Rattlesnake was the fastest destroyer before they introduced the Odysseus E. So now the Odysseus E is the fastest ship. It also, it looks like the fastest ship now, so it also is the fastest. It's still, like I said, not the most agile one, but it does fly fast straight forward. We go quickly through the next 3 ship types. First one is the Helios E in comparison to Sentinel and Vanguard. You see the hull is the strongest for the Helios E, but you lack something very important. You're lacking speed in comparison to the other Helios models, which is unfortunate. Not only speed, but also agility. Again, strafe speed is higher, but come on, strafe speed. You have a little bit more container storage. It is not enough to say, well, the speed and the storage will balance itself out so that I take the Helios E over the, let's say, the Helios Sentinel, or even the Helios Vanguard, which I would even say the Helios Sentinel in this regard would be the best option here. So the Helios E is not a good upgrade in that category. Again, one thing that they changed in here too is the S ship capacity, which is just 2 ships in your storage compared to the 40 you had before. Next one on our list is the Shethonius E compared to Sentinel and Vanguard. We have a stronger hull in here, same amount of shields, more M-class shields. We have here the slowest one, the slowest ship in comparison to the old versions. It is a little bit more agile, so now I don't really see the design decision that they made, because some ships were faster, some were less agile. Now we have like something like a middle ground. It also does not have the highest amount of storage. It's like in the middle of Sentinel and Vanguard, and the same with S ship capacity. At the moment it's 4, while the others have 40. Which is also weird to see. I don't know where this decision is coming from. Again, Shethonius does seem like a nerf for me. In this case, I would prefer the Sentinel just because you have more storage and it's faster, a little bit at least. Next one, Shethonius E Mineral Miner. Basically the same what I just said about the Gas Miner applies to the Mineral Miner too. Seems like a nerf. It's somehow in between the Sentinel and Vanguard. I would still prefer the Sentinel version here. But if you want to have better looking ships, you have no other choice than taking the Shethonius E. Now on to something that you maybe waited for, the XL capital ships, and we're starting with the auxiliary ship, the Atlas. Atlas E in comparison to Sentinel and Vanguard, and the Atlas E does have the strongest hull, just a little bit stronger than the Atlas Sentinel, but it lacks some speed, although it's not that much, and it also lacks some storage, and again it lacks capacity for M and S ships, but has got higher crew. So you see the direction with what they went with the new ships. In some points it's a nerf, in some points it's a little bit better than the other versions. It feels like they just tweaked these new E-type ships a little bit and didn't want it to change that much in-game. Though I still say you do get the new designs, but the stats are not surprising. But in the end, this is just an auxiliary ship. And now let's have a look at the biggest new ship, the carrier. And here we got the Zeus E carrier in comparison to the Sentinel and Vanguard. The hull is somewhere in the middle between both of them. Shields are a little bit lower than on the other ones, but we see a speed bump in this carrier, a high speed bump really. And again, I really don't know where this decision is coming from, but it seems like the carrier was just not on par with other carriers from other factions. We have a look at other carriers after that. All the speed stats are basically higher with the Zeus as for the other versions. The other stats are again pretty much the same. We're losing M and S ship capacity and the crew is somewhere in the middle, but the speed bump is very that's surprising. Let's have a look and compare this carrier with some other carriers. So let's take the same comparison as we just did before with the Odysseus and take the split carrier, the Raptor, and the Argon carrier, the Colossus. Again, very surprising. It is not as strong as the Raptor. Otherwise, it is stronger than the Colossus. Shields are somewhere in between. Group shields are the lowest. But look at the speed. Like, it is a weird decision to give the Zeus the highest speed of, I think, all carriers right now. Way higher than the Raptor, way higher than the Colossus. A quick glimpse on the prices for the blueprints of the new ships. Here you have the prices of the Holy Order. We got the Zeus E and the Zeus Sentinel cost the same. The Atlas E though is way more expensive than the Atlas Sentinel. We got the Odysseus E, again way more expensive than the Odysseus Sentinel. Then I don't know if you really care at that point, but seeing price differences of 100% on top. This here, ladies and gentlemen, looks like the Egosoft way to put the actual graphics card market into X4. And one more thing to talk about on top, the resources needed to construct these ships. Here we have the Zeus E, has got 4,190 energy cells and 14,000 hull parts. It's the same for the Sentinel. The Vanguard is a little bit lower. So the E type is on par with the Sentinel type. For the Odysseus, got 1,500 and 10,000. The Sentinel costs less, 1,300 and 5,600, and the Vanguard being even more cheaper than the Odysseus E. Like this is a 50% premium on energy cells and more than 100% premium on hull parts, which is massive, especially if you need that many more hull parts than for your Vanguard version. And you do not gain 100% more firepower or any more capabilities of these ships. You are paying for design here. That's all you're paying for. This is like putting RGB on your ship and just let it cost 50% more. Let's go back to the lobby. If you like the comparison and you want to see more content, then come to twitch.tv/CaptainCollins, where I stream from Sunday to Thursday every week. Every Thursday is our X day if you're particularly interested in the X games. And please consider subscribing if you love the content. That would mean the world for me. Thank you so much for watching. And if you are interested in more videos, that's what YouTube think you would like the most as the next video.